Bonne chance aux deux équipes et bon match. Best of luck to both teams. Coach on the Surrey Storm 97A girls team and a pitcher with the Surrey Storm senior ladies team. On May 3rd, 2011, Cassandra Collius, age 22, was driving home after playing a softball game at the Cloverdale Athletic Park when her car was T-boned while she was making a left turn at the corner of 152nd Street and 64th Avenue in Surrey. Cassandra was tragically killed at the scene by an impaired driver. To honor Cassandra's dream of becoming a teacher, the Collius family created a scholarship fund in her name. Cassandra's legacy is to give back to others through education. The scholarships being given out tonight will mark the 45th scholarship being given out in the past 13 years. We would like to congratulate 5 young women who are unable to be here tonight. Caitlin Saunders plays with the Nanaimo Softball Association. Kiris Bracker-Patterson plays for the Alberni Valley Minor Softball Association. Tonight, we honor Aaron Reed, who plays with the SSWR Thunder team, Vanessa Chan from the Delta Heat Softball Association, and Janelle D from the Richmond Islanders Softball Association, who are all receiving scholarships here tonight. All 5 of these young ladies have been chosen to be recipients of the 2024 Cassandra Collius Memorial Scholarship Award. Each young girl will receive a check they can put toward their post-secondary education. We wish all of these young women the best in their future careers and hope they will continue to be an inspiration to others in the future. Congratulations to Aaron Reed, Vanessa Chan, Janelle D, Caitlin Saunders, and Kiris Bracker-Patterson.
a place in the Canada Cup 2024 Women's Division Final on the line, and it matches two teams with unblemished and perfect 6-0 records. Welcome to a steamy night at Softball City. Temperature in and around the 27-degree mark. You get a beautiful look. That is fantastic. A softball facility as you'll find anywhere. And it's Canada at 6-0, coming off a hard-fought 4-3 double extra inning win last night over Australia, taking on Triple Crown Colorado, this outstanding collection of college all-stars. Both teams yet to suffer a loss, and we are set to get underway. It's Cassidy Curd, an All-American pitcher from Duke University, dealing with as good a hitter as you might find on planet Earth in Kelsey Harshman, the Canadian second baseman. And Kelsey delivered a huge game-tying home run last night in the fifth inning. Curd was brilliant in a win over Australia earlier this week, where she went the distance, gave up just one run. And we are nicely underway in a game highly anticipated. These two teams did meet last week in Colorado, and Canada managed to win that game in their tour of preparation prior to this Canada Cup. Many look at this Triple Crown Colorado team as really a feeder system for the United States national women's team. You'll see a number of these young women in years to come playing again in red, white, and blue. As Harshman, a favorable count as Curd falls behind early, 3 balls and a strike. Kelsey's 4 for 13 with a double, 2 home runs, and 3 runs batted in, and exactly what Canada was hoping for. A leadoff walk to Kelsey Harshman. Reese Atwood, the sensational catcher out of the University of Texas. Katie Stewart, Jess Oakland. Ari Roddy is at first. The pop-up, and it goes off the screen, off the bat of Canadian newcomer to this national team program, and a key one in CC Wong from nearby Port Coquitlam. She batted .470, the first team softball All-American at Wichita State, and takes inside from Cassidy Curd. Jackie Lease is the second baseman. Around the diamond from left to right, Alexis Papillo in left, Kaylee Wickoff in center, and the right fielder is University of Oklahoma star Cassidy Pickering. Curd, one of the best ERAs this year, as she helped Duke University to its first ever appearance at the College Women's World Series in Oklahoma City. And the Duke softball program, very much in its infancy. It's only been around for 7 years. And the product of Port St. Lucie, Florida, has had 2 fabulous years at the university, Duke University in Durham, North Carolina. So 2-2, Canada not looking to move the runner over early in the game. Instead, they allow the powerful CC Wong to swing away. And ouch. As Curd, whose accuracy was really pinpoint in her first appearance of the tournament, going back to the important 6-1 round-robin win over Australia, in what was arguably the highlight game of the round-robin in either pool. She gave up 1 run in that game, 3 hits, struck out 8, and walked 1. She also pitched 14 innings, helping Triple Crown Colorado to the championship final of last year's tournament, only to lose to Japan. So Canada, with runners aboard on a walk and hit by pitch, and in business to begin the top of the first inning. To the winner, a date in tomorrow evening's final. And Kellen Pilgrim from nearby Abbotsford. A good cut on the low drop from Cassidy Curd. Pilgrim's had back-to-back quality Canada Cup. She's 6 for 13 in this year's tournament. She's doubled, she's homered, and she's drove in 7 runs. And looks at a rise ball at the letters for strike number 2. Pilgrim has 3 multi-hit games already here this week as Canada, and they were in a more favorable pool competition-wise, ran it up on their opponents, but Cassidy Curd runs one up for her first strikeout and the game's first out. She will throw in the high 60s neighborhood. Grace Mesmer with a huge 2-run single last night in the win over Australia, 4-3 in 9 innings. Grace, both offensively and defensively, has had a stellar week as she has taken over the starting third base role from longtime national team third baseman Emma Ensminger, who elected to work this year. And Pilgrim pops up to all-star in this tournament, Jess Oakland. So Curd with an early struggle, but comes back to get the next 2 Canadian batters. Triple Crown Colorado has only in 6 games given up 3 total runs. 2 of them last night in their 5-2 triumph over Team Mexico. And now it's Larissa Franklin, the veteran, 31-year-old from Maple Ridge. Long-time member and Olympic bronze medalist. Helped Canada qualify for the Olympics here in 2019. Looking to cash in the game's first run, as Cassidy Curd misses down and away for ball 2. Harshman and Wong, the base runners. And Franklin had a good rip at that pitch, but missed from Curd. Larissa's had a good tournament as well. She's batting 9 for 20. 3 doubles and 2 runs batted in. Those 2 runs batted in came in Canada's first 2 games, wins over New Zealand and Mexico. She was 1 for 4 last night against Australia. Oakland with a strong throwing arm, and Cassidy Curd allows the first 2 runners and batters to reach, and then goes to work. Triple Crown Colorado comes to bat in the bottom of the first. Canadian flag on display in many places. That's the Canadian batting lineup. Here is the one that 22-year-old Abbotsford product Katie Korstrom will deal with. And it is loaded with talent, ability, power, speed, has it all. What a week for Katie Korstrom. The 22-year-old named a couple of days ago to Canada's final 16-player roster. She'll compete in her first ever Women's World Cup. And now, in the biggest game of the tournament, in her third appearance of the week, she gets the ball against Triple Crown Colorado. She's pitched 7 innings, given up no runs, 4 hits, struck out 8, and has yet to issue a walk, facing center fielder Kaylee Wickoff, a star at Texas Tech University, and hails from Katy, Texas. She's 6 for 15 in this year's Canada Cup, making a second straight appearance for this Triple Crown Colorado team. Changeup is bounced foul towards the Triple Crown Colorado dugout. She batted .407 this year at Texas Tech, was a member of the All Big 12 first team. Last year, she was the Big 12 Freshman or Freshwoman of the Year. Great speed in the outfield. There are no easy outs wearing predominantly yellow tonight. Nice catch by Kaylee Rafter, who was the national team catcher, maybe the best we've ever had. Certainly right up there. There'd be some arguments for those in previous decades. Change up. And didn't miss the top of the strike zone by very much. Quite an opportunity for Korstrom. And she hits Wickoff on the 3-2 pitch. So like the Canadians, the leadoff batter is aboard. Canada preparing for the upcoming World Cup. They'll leave on Monday for Italy, a tournament that starts on July the 15th. And it's this type of competition that they'll face in almost every game when they get there. Jess Oakland, 8 for 19, batting .421. She's homered a tournament leading 5 times and has driven in 12 runs. And at least 3 of those homers have been towering drives. Change up towards the gap, and Callum Pilgrim makes a sensational diving catch in left. Superb play by Pilgrim, who's the head softball coach at Lindsey Wilson College in the United States. Robs Jess Oakland of a base hit. That's highlight worthy. And should help the confidence of Katie Korstrom as now she deals with NCAA champion Oklahoma Sooner Cassidy Pickering. Korstrom had a stellar year at a smaller school called Azusa Pacific, where she was their #1 pitcher. And Pickering behind on the rise that was in high on the product of Humble, Texas. Cassidy Pickering, 5 for 17 in the tournament, with a double, a home run, and a run batted in. Batted .389 for now 4-time in a row champion the Oklahoma Sooners. And in the best of 3 final against the University of Texas, of which now she's playing with a couple of Texas Longhorns on this team, she hit 2 home runs and drove in 3. On the ground, Mesmer, strong arm to get Pickering for out number 2. Wickoff runs really well. Not sure if there was really an opportunity for Grace to go to second base on this ground ball. And there's 2 away. And here's a young woman who drove in 90 runs collegiately this season at the University of Texas. Reese Atwood, the starting catcher. And 90 was 20 more than anyone else in the country. Here, she's 5 for 17 with 2 runs batted in. Change up, Harshman, and Korstrom, after hitting Wickoff, gets a marvelous play and left from Pilgrim. Canada and Triple Crown, Colorado, already putting on a show in this game of 2 unbeaten teams. So Cassidy Curd back to work. Neither team with a hit. Canada did have 2 runners, thanks to a hit by high pitch and a walk. As 22-year-old Surrey, BC product Kiana Jones, the right fielder, set to lead things off. Jones, 9 hits in fact 10 hits in the tournament last year. 4 for 12 this time around with a couple of home runs and 7 runs batted in. As Kerr delivers the drop ball in the outside corner. Two terrific teams playing for a berth in the final, and it's been a while since Canada has been in the final of this tournament. Last year, a 4th place finish. 2022, they were upset by Chinese Taipei on Saturday. They didn't make it to the final day. That won't be the case this year, regardless of this outcome. And still to come tonight, Mexico and Australia. A ball and 2 strikes to Kiana Jones. And the rise ball gets away from Cassidy Curd. After 2 stellar years at the University of North Carolina, Kiana Jones hit the transfer portal and went to South Carolina, an SEC school, and batted .232. On the changeup, Oakland in time. Cassidy Curd settling right in after what could only be described as a bit of an unsettled beginning. She was never unsettled in that complete game 3 hit performance versus Australia on Tuesday. And now dealing with Zoe Hicks, who kept her hands back and hit the changeup pretty hard, but out of play. Hicks is a 26-year-old from Boissevain, Manitoba, a two-sport athlete. In case you've missed it earlier this week, she's also a key member of Canada's national women's baseball team. She'll play in 2 World Cups this year. The first upcoming in Italy, and then in August, she'll represent her country in the World Cup baseball tournament in Thunder Bay. She's 5 for 15, and she's driven in 9 runs. And looks like she's locked in a couple of good swings for Zoe Hicks, who's playing tonight behind home plate. Kaylee Rafter catching Zoe Hicks to have a little more pop in the lineup. Up the middle. Lease. 2 down. This Triple Crown Colorado team does not make a lot of errors either. It was odd. They had a couple in the win last night versus Mexico. And now, I think the biggest surprise story to come out of this year, outside of maybe Korstrom, this is 18-year-old Jana Want from Stony Creek, Ontario, just outside of Hamilton. Earlier this year, she was helping the U18 Canadian team to move along in their quest to play at next year's U18 World Cup in Dallas. Now she's about to board a plane Monday to play in her first World Women's Championship, now known as the WBSC World Cup. And she has 3 hits here and starts tonight at first base and has a favorable count. Jana Want. Bet that was a fun meeting or phone call this week. And at this tournament last year, she played for Greece. And she has looked very comfortable at home plate. Not phased, doesn't look overwhelmed, and my guess would be that playing in this event last year would have really helped. But she has become a favorite of head coach Kaylee Rafter. And had a pretty good cut at that pitch from Cassidy Curd. Jana, at that Pan Am stage qualifier in Colombia in April, batted 6 for 27. She wasn't even one of the top 3 hitters on that Canadian team, but is showing you in this at-bat against an elite college pitcher in Cassidy Curd, the moment is not too big. 3 for 10. She's doubled and scored a run. And Curd misses up high. Curd's numbers in back-to-back years at Duke have been off the charts. And Jana Want clapping, and for good reason. Good at-bat for the young 18-year-old. And Canada has a 2-out base runner for Janet Leung, who missed last night's game against Australia. She was away at a family wedding, and Canada without the best hitter throughout the round robin all weekend in Erica Polidori, who went 11 for 16. She is away at a family wedding, but will be on the airplane to go to Italy to represent her country on Monday. Canada would certainly love to have her in the lineup tonight against this group. Janet Leung had a really, really good 2023 Canada Cup at home plate. Hasn't gone quite as well for the longtime veteran shortstop. But no time like the present to heat up. Facing an 0-2 pitch. And the changeup is down and out of the zone to Janet Leung from Mississauga, Ontario. She's 30 years of age. The slick fielder that she is. 1 for 6. Doesn't have a lot of at-bats this week. Curd fields her position well. A walk, a runner left. Still looking for the game's first run in the most important clash yet at the Canada Cup. Katie Korstrom takes the ball. Did hit a batter to start the game, but then, thanks in no short part to a marvelous catch in left field by Callum Pilgrim, retired the next 3 and now deals with University of Northern Iowa, soon to be transferred for the upcoming season, in left fielder Alexis Popillo. She's from Crystal Lake, Illinois, and she's on her way to the SEC Conference and the University of Alabama. She'll play for the Crimson Tide collegiately next season. 6 for 13 here, and that's the second batter that Korstrom has hit. And Popillo doesn't. Body language will tell you that. Now, if there was not an upcoming WBC World Cup, maybe Canada goes somewhat differently in the pitching department. There will be nothing that gets in the way of Kaylee Rafter's plan to have her roster set, especially her pitching, as they prepare for the United States in their opener on July the 15th. Dawn Bodrug has been excellent. Morgan Rackle gave Canada 4 terrific innings last night against Australia as Korstrom's changeup fouled away by Katie Stewart. Stewart was marvelous in her first year at the University of Texas, where she hit .369 with 13 doubles and 13 home runs. She delivered the big blow here last night in the 5-2 win over Mexico, a bases-clearing grand slam. Her second. There'll be no grand slam this time, as Korstrom strikes out one of the best in the NCAA in Katie Stewart. Her 9th strikeout of the tournament, first of the game. And Ari Rode from Cranston, Rhode Island, pardon me. She was a first-team softball All-American. Batted .353 this year at the University of Charlotte. Change-up, and a good one from Korstrom. Been really impressed with Katie. 5 innings of work day 1 against New Zealand. Another good relief appearance later in the tournament. And here she is in the biggest game she's ever pitched in, knowing that she'll wear the maple leaf in Italy. And the changeup has worked well for her. She's in that 63, 64 range. Two balls, two strikes. And Ari Roddy just got a piece of her bat on it. Roddy is 7 for 13. She has 3 doubles, 2 runs batted in, 2 for 3 in last night's victory over Mexico. Nicely underway in this important showdown. There's Nicola Simpson up and working in the Canadian pen. Roddy, foul. Went the other way with the outside pitch, hit it well. Roddy had 22 home runs at the University of Charlotte and 55 runs batted in. She was 7th in home runs in Division I NCAA women's softball. Change up, misses up. And more a rise than a change. That came in at 65. It's the way she threw it. The release looked a lot like the change, which is good news. Korstrom, Harshman out of the way of the sliding Papillo, and there are 2 away. Right back at the pitcher, and there was no hesitation either to force Papillo 1-4. There's Jackie Lease. Fouls the first Katie Korstrom pitch out of play. Lease 5 for 16. She's from Newburgh, Indiana, and was a star this year at the University of Southern Illinois for the Salukis. She hit .344 there. And the batting average could be better even here than what it is. She's hit a lot of balls hard for outs. Korstrom, the outside corner, and works ahead of Jackie Lease in her second consecutive Canada Cup. She batted .375 here last year. Up the middle, knocked down by Jen Leung. But will be a base hit, the first of the game for either side. As Canada's already made one circus catch in the game, and Leung went in search of another, but couldn't get to it. And now runners at first and second. For the designated player, Sarah Gordon. She changed schools to play this year. Hard to keep track of everybody in that transfer portal. She is from Lexington, South Carolina, played at the University of Georgia after a massive freshman year at the University of Louisville. She's 2 for 13 here with a double. And if the work I am watching in the pen says we might not see one of Canada's big 3. Gordon sends Franklin back. Not deep enough. Katie Korstrom. These are the kind of experiences that can take you a long way. Her work at school and in this calendar year has her going a long way to Italy to play for her country.
Welcome to the 2024 Canada Cup, brought to you by the Canadian Amateur Sports Society. Our not-for-profit organization is dedicated to ensuring that every deserving child can fully enjoy multi-day sports camps without any limitations. Join us in making a difference. Sign up for these life-changing camps or become a sponsor today. Together, let's celebrate the unifying power of sport. Visit CanadaCup.com to
Canada really feasted on competition that wasn't quite up to their level, with the exception of Mexico, and they even won that game 9-1 during the round robin. Things turned against a great opponent in Australia, won the game 4-3 in 9 innings. They've outscored their opponents here 51-7. Homered 12 times, a collective batting average of .357. Kelsey Harshman walked her first time up. And David King, the head coach, and any other head coach at a high level in this sport, is well aware of what you're dealing with in the 26-year-old Harshman. 4 for 13. So far in this Canada Cup, she had 13 hits a year ago, and then at the qualifier to help Canada advance to the World Cup, 8 for 18, 9 for 19 in the fall at the Pan Am Games. She can flat out hit, and usually does her best work on nights like tonight. Most important hit of the tournament for Canada was her game-tying solo home run last night here to center in the bottom of the 5th inning. This won't carry enough. Just underneath it that time for Harshman, who flies out to Kaylee Wickoff. As Cassidy Curd, first 2 reach base. She walked another in the second, but yet to surrender a hit to a Canadian team that has 55 of them in 6 games. CeCe Wong had a lot of hits at Wichita State. She hit .470, second best average in all the NCAA. Quite a moment for her here the other night when she homered against Mexico. That was her best game, and it was Canada's most important prior to last night. And even last night, she went 0 for 2, but drew a very difficult walk against Kaya Parnaby. Roddy will snag the 1 hopper. And 2 down for Canada in the top of the 3rd. Well, Callum Pilgrim, a reason this game is still even. She made a sensational all-out diving catch to rob Jess Oakland of a hit in the 1st. Pilgrim, Wickoff takes 3 steps, and a fairly easy inning for Cassidy Curd, who looks as comfortable as any on what's a great pitching staff for Triple Crown Colorado. Well, here's the playoff results from earlier, and both results very much expected. 10-0 for Mexico, 11-0 in 4 innings for Australia, and Mexico and Australia will play in the game following this one for the right to participate tomorrow. The winner of that game will play the loser of this one. The winner of this one advances to the title game tomorrow at 6. Hope you're enjoying it wherever you might be looking in from on this glorious Saturday night at Softball City. Is Kaylee Wickoff, her second at bat. Katie Korstrom hit her in the bottom of the first. Korstrom so far has given up 1 hit, hit a batter, and does have 1 strikeout. And Zoe Hicks, who has not really done a lot of catching for this program. I believe that Canada's other catcher, Nicole Rivet, was actually hurt on their trip to Colorado prior to this tournament starting. The drop ball, a good one. Swung on and missed by Kaylee Wickoff, who's been busy already tonight in center, but hasn't had a real difficult play to make yet. Drilled down the line and foul. When you take on Triple Crown Colorado, there just can never be a lack of concentration, focus. They can hurt you 1 through 9. It's the best lineup in the tournament. And there's an example as to why. Canada is right in that same class, especially if Polidori was here. And Jess Oakland, so dangerous. The Big Ten Player of the Year at the University of Minnesota from San Jose, California. Comes by playing ball honestly. Her dad was a minor leaguer in the Colorado Rockies system and a high school coach. And Jess, the home run leader in the tournament with 5, tried to hit that into the trees. She's 8 for 20 here in her first Canada Cup. And again, swinging out of her shoes. Hit .452 this year at Minnesota. 20 home runs, 58 runs batted in. A second-team All-American. 5th in batting average in the NCAA. Harshman has a chance for 2 and delivers. That helps. Korstrom induces a 4 unassisted to 3 double play. And as well as Harshman hits, she can pick them too. And now there are 2 out in the bottom of the third. As Cassidy Pickering takes ball 1. Korstrom, or make that Pickering. Good eye off of Korstrom. The University of Oklahoma star crushes it. And Triple Crown Colorado strikes first on her second home run of the Canada Cup. Pickering hit 12 of those this year for NCAA champion Oklahoma. And I mentioned it earlier, 2 in the best of 3 College Women's World Series final versus Texas. it would appear she likes big moments. So does Reese Atwood. Janet Leung, slick. Inning over. Triple Crown Colorado on the board, courtesy of Cassidy Pickering. Cassidy Pickering has broken the tie, launching one to left center to give Triple Crown Colorado the lead in this all-important winners bracket final with a berth in tomorrow's championship game on the line. Triple Crown Colorado has been in the last two championship finals. They lost last year to Japan in 2022 in something that I'm not sure has occurred for a long time. They beat the United States national team twice before losing in the championship final. Knocked them off in the round robin and in this winners bracket game before losing on Championship Sunday. I don't really remember in an event where the United States lost twice to the same team, not even necessarily Japan. That is rare. Mesmer deals with a couple of back-to-back changeups. Cassidy Curd, so Cassidy's making all the difference, even though they're both spelt differently in terms of the first names. Pickering is homered. Cassidy Curd is hard to score on. She's now pitched the last 2 years in this tournament, by my count, 23 innings. 14 last year, didn't give up a run. Given up only one this year in 10 more innings. And an excuse me pop out, almost defensive, from Grace Mesmer. As Cassidy Curd has retired the last 5 consecutive Canadians that she's dealt with. Larissa Franklin trying to change that. As Canada in arrears. They did trail last night on a couple of occasions against Australia, battled back to win it 4-3 in 9. Nicholas Simpson from the University of Seattle warming up as Franklin, ouch. Got a piece of the umpire, and Chris Jones, the Canadian assistant coach, who is a stellar shortstop, a national team member for Canada for many years, checks to see if she's all right. And looks like she is. Larissa Franklin grounded out to Jess Oakland at short. her first time up to end the first. Launches this one. It is gone. Tie game. A no-doubter to answer Cassidy Pickering's homer in the bottom of the third. And this one jumped into the bleachers in a hurry. Her first home run of the Canada Cup. And we're deadlocked at 1. So Canada's first hit off of Cassidy Curd leaves the yard to tie the game. And now Kiana Jones looked like she was sitting pretty well on that changeup, but pulled it foul. Solo homers for each team. They've been the top 2 teams throughout the week. Curd comes right back to the change, but misses down and in the dirt. Cassidy was 13-4 at Duke University, an earned run average of 1.31. She struck out 156 batters in 128 1/3. In her first 2 years at Duke University, 315 strikeouts. She's from Port St. Lucie, Florida. Just foul past Katie Stewart at third. Jones grounded out to Jess Oakland at shortstop to begin the top of the second. Larissa Franklin's first home run of this Canada Cup is even the game. And Jones dug in for a good at-bat. As that looks like left-hander Kirsten Deal up and throwing in the bullpen for Triple Crown Colorado. Another NCAA champion at the University of Oklahoma. This will make its way into about row 5. Ball and 2 strikes to Kiana Jones. And her tap just off the body of Ellen Roberts last night allowed Canada to score the winning run in the bottom of the 9th. And she was bashful about it. It didn't make its way farther than about 20 feet from home plate, maybe less. There was a play at the plate as Roberts came home, but Canada scored, and Kiana Jones works the count full against Cassidy Curd. Well, they have stats in the books these days for quality at-bats. Kiana Jones just gave her team and country one of them. And now it's Zoe Hicks. Hicks grounded out to Jackie Lease over at second. One behind Erica Polidori, who's not here this weekend, in the run batted in category. Zoe Hicks has 9 of them. First pitch she faced came against New Zealand. Canada Day afternoon with the bases loaded. Boom. To straightaway center. So it was quite a beginning for Zoe. And now the head of not only this team, but the entire Triple Crown Colorado softball program. They run massive tournaments, develop young people. It's a major operation that David runs. And he comes out for a quick chat with both Cassidy Curd and All-American catcher Reese Atwood. A lot on the line in this tournament. And both of these teams are geared up for one another. Canada knows what kind of a collection of talent they're dealing with. And the same can be said for the United States entry, Triple Crown Colorado. And don't think that people aren't watching. Do not for a second think that the USA's national team staff, Heather Tarr and company, and yeah, I know they're overseas getting ready, but they're always watching games like this to evaluate. Hicks on the changeup. Roddy goes to second on the force. As Cassidy Curd throws a very, very fine changeup and gets Hicks to ground to first, and Ari Roddy wasted no time taking the lead runner. 3-6. So Canada has tied it on the Larissa Franklin rocket into the bleachers in right center. And it's been a pretty steady diet from Curd of changeups. This one to Jana Want, who battled Curd into a walk in the second. The 18-year-old Ontario product. Snap throw down. Hicks had barely been more than a half a step off the bag by the time that throw went to first. 3 hits for Triple Crown, just the 1 for Canada. But it got the job done. In fact, both runs supplied by a solo homer. And the teams now have 13 home runs collectively each in the tournament. 1 ball and 2 strikes to 18-year-old Jana Want. Towards the gap. Chris Jones is going to hold Zoe Hicks. It's her 4th hit of the Canada Cup. Kaylee Rafter believes enough in what she's seen to name her to the 16-player World Cup roster. And she here in Surrey is showing why she's on the best team in the country, the national team. They'll run for her. Jana Want. She is writing herself quite a chapter of her softball story this week. She's 4 for 11. I do not know as of right now where she is on her way to school, but somebody's about to get a good one. And we're going to have a pitching change. Kirsten Deal will come in for Cassidy Curd, who gives up just the 2 hits, including the homer in this inning. And Canada with runners at first and third and 2 out. Kirsten, not the number 1 go-to pitcher at NCAA champion Oklahoma. But a significant piece nonetheless. And in this tournament, the Winston-Salem, North Carolina product has thrown 4 innings, given up 1 run, 2 hits, struck out 8, walked no one. She did give up a run on 2 hits in the 5-2 win versus Mexico last night. The game that propelled Triple Crown Colorado into this winner's bracket final. At the University of Oklahoma, an impressive 14-1, a 1.97 earned run average, pitched 78 1/3, struck out 68, walked 22. She's had 3 appearances at the College Women's World Series in the 2024 edition. She did take the loss in Oklahoma's only loss there. She gave up 4 hits and 5 runs in 3 2/3 in a setback at the hands of the University of Florida. So David King makes a change. Canada's tied it and 60 feet away from taking the first lead. And it's Janet Leung, the longtime veteran shortstop, with a chance to cash in Zoe Hicks. So both teams have been opportunistic. And the long ball, which has been a factor for both all week, has been in this crucial contest tonight. And here's Leung. Deal upstairs, as in Kirsten. It's a great staff that also features one of the hardest throwers in all the sport in Carlin Pickens, a first-team All-American out of the University of Tennessee, who last night, even on our gun, which is not necessarily in the ideal position in this park after the first one that Luciano of Softball Premier TV fashioned was broken by a foul ball. But she still hit 74, Pickens, last night, and was constantly in the 72 window. We're likely to see her in this tournament again. 2 balls and a strike to Janet Leung. And it hit her. Caught her on the elbow guard. And the bases for Canada are loaded. And look who comes to home plate. The person that you want there. And when the bases are loaded, you have no place to put her. She is not unleashed regularly the way she did here last year. But she loves a big moment. Takes a strike from Deal. Lefty against lefty. And gets Harshman to ground out. Not her best at bat. It remains tied at 1 as Larissa Franklin evened the game with a blast to the bleachers. A new Canadian catcher is the veteran Natalie Weidman, who ran in place of Jana Want, comes in a 1-1 tie. Zoe Hicks moves from catcher to first base, and Jana Want out of the game defensively. Larissa Franklin tied it for Canada. She answered the Cassidy Pickering home run, and Canada would go on to load the bases. But Kirsten Deal, no easy out to retire Canada's arguably best hitter in Kelsey Harshman to end the inning. So Canada strands 3. And Katie Korstrom continues to work very nicely. But as I say that, falls behind, or actually that's a strike. So looked like it might have been down and out of the zone, but 2 balls and a strike to Alexis Papillo. Change up. And the count is even. Papillo grounded into a force. She hit it back to Korstrom her first time up. And Korstrom strikes her out. Got a piece, but Natalie Weidman able to hang on. And Alexis Papillo with one of the filthiest looks you could ever give the umpire. She didn't like that 2-ball strike call, and she might have been right. And that's going to do it for Katie Korstrom. Some performance by the newcomer to the national women's team on her way to the World Cup. And yet another quality performance here at the Canada Cup for the 22-year-old from Abbotsford. I had a great conversation with a very proud grandfather here a few days ago, and I can't even imagine how proud he must feel now, because when I chatted with Granddad, she hadn't yet been named. Now, maybe he knew at the time we talked, but it wasn't official, and she has flat out earned it. And against the very difficult lineup, the line on Korstrom, she goes 3 1/3, gives up 3 hits. She did give up the solo home run to Cassidy Pickering. Leaves the game on a strikeout. She was excellent. And continues to now, I think, show that she's a very viable option at the World Cup, where there are no easy opponents. That is a great 8-team field that's assembling in Italy. Canada in a pool with the United States, Italy, and China. And now, Nicola Simpson enters the game. She pitched this year at the University of Seattle. She was at the University of Tennessee, but transferred. And she hails from Seattle. She has dual citizenship, thus the reason she's playing for Canada. And facing Katie Stewart. So Canada electing to this point not to go with any of their 3 regulars. Bodrug, Morgan Rackle, and Sarah Groenwagen, who right now might be number 3 on the depth chart. Simpson, not a hard thrower, will locate it well. She's just 20 years of age. Pitched 2 innings here so far. And not against competition like this. Canada had the shift on for Katie Stewart. It is legal in this sport. And it still didn't work. As Stewart, with a one-out base hit, passed the shift. As Harshman, playing on the left side of second base, couldn't quite get to it. And now it's Ari Roddy. Another youngster, Brooke Melnichuk, a 23-year-old from Hudson Bay, is warming. So Kaylee Rafter content to go with the youngsters in this showdown. And as I stated earlier, as much as she wants to win this tournament, the big prize is trying to win a medal at the upcoming World Cup. So whatever the plan is, I know what coaches are like. They don't stray from the plan. And nor should they most of the time. As Roddy shakes it off, she fouled that off the instep. And that hurts. At Seattle University, Nicholas Simpson, 4-11 was the record, 349 in 98 and a third innings of work. And misses outside to the product of Cranston, Rhode Island. Not exactly a softball hotbed. So good for her. The 2-2. Change up and a gem from Nicholas Simpson, who has her 4th strikeout. She had 3 in her appearance the other day versus Hong Kong, China. But this is no Hong Kong, China that she's dealing with tonight. And upstairs and in to second baseman Jackie Lease, who has singled in the contest. In a 1-1 4th inning tie. Part of your decision to make the pitching moves you do, Kaylee Rafter, I think, by and large, really believes in a lineup seeing more than one pitcher. So Simpson, not the same type of velocity. And when you face this Triple Crown Colorado team, sometimes less velocity, as long as it's in good places, can be equally as successful. Leung leaves for Mesmer. Not in time. Now caught in a rundown is Katie Stewart. And Grace Mesmer is going to tag her out. So not exactly how you would draw it up, but effective nonetheless. And it remains a 1-1 tie after 4 innings to the winner, a date in the championship final. A beauty brewing, and no one is surprised. A 1-1 tie, two teams with 6-0 records, Canada and Triple Crown Colorado. Triple Crown Colorado has out-hit Canada 5-2. Both teams with a solo home run. Triple Crown off the bat of Cassidy Pickering. Canada, a Larissa Franklin solo blast in the bottom, or make that in the top of the fourth. So CC Wong, she was hit by a pitch, or yes indeed, hit by a pitch from the starter, Cassidy Curd, who left in the fourth. And Deal came on and induced a big ground ball with the bases loaded to Kelsey Harshman to end the threat. And Wong takes a strike from Deal. 2 balls and 2 strikes to CC, who will play for her country in a huge event for the first time herself in Italy. And she's been in the number 3 spot, or now 2 spot, all week. Probably would still be in the 3 spot, but the absence of Erica Polidori, the reason for the shift. Any way you slice or dice it, she has made a huge impact on the softball world this year. When you're named the most improved player in the NCAA, you've made an impact. And her number is the reason why. Batted .470 at Wichita State. And it was very evident to me, my first in-person viewings of her here at Softball City. She has a very good eye at the plate. She's been in a lot of 3-2 counts and won some battles. Trying to win one here. Hit it hard, but right at Lease. And Lease forced Roddy to make a way more difficult play as she, talking about Lease, puts her hand up to her mouth. She short-hopped her. And Kaylee Rafter wants to know if there was control. CC Wong stayed right there. So are we going to get a review? The call is an out. Coaches have one review, and the umpire is on the walkie-talkie. It has indeed been challenged. So the crew will gather, and they'll take a look. I wonder if the question is whether she came off the bag. Ari Roddy did make a fine play to gather up what looked to be a routine out before Jackie Lease threw it into the dirt. But Wong seemed pretty adamant and never left. So here's the throw into the dirt. And that's what it's about. Did she have control when the foot comes off the bag? And that's why they're looking. And if my monitor wasn't in the middle of an easy bake oven, well, not only does poor Luciano have to try and provide the streaming pictures, he's also providing the review pictures. So we continue to look at this. Ground ball routine. Jackie Lease. Short hops, Ariana Roddy. Now, does she come off? Is she in control of the ball when her foot is still on the bag? That is what's in question. And I've had a tough time even guessing on a lot of these. It's a new ad this year to the Canada Cup talking about video review. Remember, the call is an out, and it remains an out. So apparently she did have control with her foot still on the bag. One out for Callum Pilgrim, whose greatest contribution to this game was as good a play in the outfield as you'll ever see. A diving catch to rob Jess Oakland of a hit back in the bottom of the first inning. Callum is struck out and flown out to center fielder Kaylee Wickoff. In a 1-1 tie in this winner's bracket final. Lease camps under it. Easy play. And Kirsten Deal has come in and done a very nice job in relief of Cassidy Curd. Grace Mesmer certainly has had a fantastic week in her home area. She's from nearby Cloverdale, which you could throw a big stone not too far and hit it. In fact, the other portions of the Canada Cup, the Futures Gold, the Futures Under 19, those showcases also being played not only here but in Cloverdale. Ball and no strike. Mesmer off the end of the bat. Katie Stewart fires it. And like her name, Kirsten is dealing at Softball City. Her team comes to bat in a 1-1 tie. A 1-1 tie. Something's got to give. Both these teams are 6-0, 5-0 in the round robin, and then playoff wins in the winner's bracket. Canada in 9 hard-fought innings over Australia. The Australians also headed to the upcoming World Cup as part of a great field of 8 teams in Italy, while Triple Crown Colorado down Mexico. And Sarah Gordon had a mighty cut at Nicholas Simpson's first pitch. Simpson replaced the starter Katie Korstrom. So Canada going with youngsters tonight against this vaunted lineup. Driven to center and off the wall or fence. And some throw by Franklin to keep Sarah Gordon to a long single. This is what speed and a great arm allows you to do. Played it perfectly off the fence. Well, she's played here a lot, and she's from Maple Ridge. And fired a strike. But a single to begin, and now David King is going to call in his group to talk about strategy. And here comes the biggest moment in 23-year-old Brooke Melnichuk's young pitching career. She is from Hudson Bay, Saskatchewan. She's a product of the Twos program in Saskatoon. Boy, talk about a recruiting tool this week for Dean Holine and Canadian head coach of our U18 women's team, Keith McIntosh, Donnie Atkinson, Ryan Ray, and everybody involved, but the owners, Holine and McIntosh. The team they brought here, which was a very late addition to round out a 12-team tournament, acquitted themselves well. And their program, one of the reasons why Brooke Melnichuk is in the game, is they work out at a great facility in Saskatoon, indoors, and then play in a number of elite level type tournaments in the different age groups. So Brooke Melnichuk about to make her second appearance. She was given the start against the number 12 out of 12 teams in the tournament. She pitched against Hong Kong, China for a couple of innings here to wrap up the round robin on Thursday. And now has to deal with Kaylee Wickoff and the rest of the top of the Triple Crown Colorado order. As for the first time, one of Canada's big three in the circle, Morgan Rackle, gets up. See if Kaylee Wickoff is asked to bunt or if she'll swing away. No sign of bunting on the first pitch from Brooke Melnichuk. Played at Louisiana Tech University the last 2 years. Went 13-7 at the school this year. Pitched 124 innings and nearly got a piece of Haley Wickoff, who was hit already tonight by the Canadian starter Katie Korstrom. Mexico and Australia in the game after this one. Wickoff off the end of her bat in the screen foul. The designated player, Sarah Gordon, who launched one to the outfield fence, but was held in check on a very, very good play by Larissa Franklin, who has supplied the only Canadian run with a solo shot of her own. Melnichuk, change up, and Natalie Weidman does a nice job to keep the ball in front of her and gives Melnichuk big tap for the changeup. Well, these are great developmental moments to learn about some of the up-and-comers in the most important position in the sport, in the circle. They're hard to find when it comes to world-class people. Drilled by Kaylee Wickoff. This goes to the fence. The stop sign is Harshman. Probably would have gunned down Sarah Gordon. But Triple Crown Colorado in big business with back-to-back hits, including the double off the bat of Kaylee Wickoff. and there's still no one out in the bottom of the fifth. A base open for Jess Oakland. And I thought there might be some consideration with this power hitting shortstop to maybe put her on with a base open. However, I'm sure if I chatted with head coach Kaylee Rafter, she would tell me that development and watching people in difficult situations, even in an important game like this, matters more than the outcome. But you're asking a lot of anyone pitching against this group. They're a difficult group to get out for the absolute best in this sport. But you sure learn. No balls and 2 strikes as Brooke Melnichuk checks the armband. Right back at her. She'll check and shovel. There's a huge out. Now Cassidy Pickering supplied the only run, a solo blast of her own to left center. And now they might think about putting this young woman at first base. It sets up a force. However, you do that, and now you're dealing with Reese Atwood, who has not had her best tournament. Just video game numbers this year for Reese at the University of Texas. 90 runs batted in. So we'll see what Canada does. This would be pick your poison. And Pickering in the tournament right now might be hitting it better. They'll give it a go. Brooke Melnichuk. Welcome on a hot evening to the fire. Wearing your country's uniform for the first time in the senior women's category in a beautiful changeup. Isn't this great? Two strikes to Pickering. And you would want this one to be out of the zone. But it wasn't. And hit straight back up the middle. And will score 2 runs. An 0-2 pitch that was left in the middle of the plate. And hit right back up the middle. By Cassidy Pickering, who has driven in all 3 Triple Crown Colorado runs. Homered, and now another single with 2 more runs batted in. And it's 3-1 as Reese Atwood high in the air. Catch made by Larissa Franklin. And another big out from Brooke Melnichuk, who has really done a nice job in the most difficult of situations. On the run, sliding in safely, is Pickering into scoring position. So she runs well, too. Home run, 3 runs batted in, 2 hits. As Cassidy Pickering continues to show, when the lights are bright, she can't get enough. All you have to do is go back and watch the 2 championship final games at the College Women's World Series. Doesn't get any bigger than that. Not in this sport, except for what's upcoming at the World Cup. Those are the 2 biggest events, in my opinion, in women's softball. Ahead of Papillo. Harshman on a bounce. Well, Brooke Melnichuk, minus 102 pitch, really could not have given Canada a better effort in relief. That should really do a lot for her confidence. But Pickering is the difference. She's driven all 3 runs across home plate, and Canada trails by 2. Triple Crown Colorado on a 2-run single off the bat of Cassidy Pickering, who supplied all 3 runs tonight. Lead Canada 3-1. Canada has only managed 2 hits against the combo of Cassidy Curd and University of Oklahoma's Kirsten Deal. And the woman who supplied Canada's only run, Larissa Franklin, steps into the batter's box. She hit a line shot homer into the bleachers in right center her last time in the batter's box. And she's capable of doing it any which way. She can bunt, runs well, can slap, and showed you some power too. She has 10 hits now in this tournament. And make it 11. Two for 3 with a home run is Larissa Franklin. So Canada brings the tying run to the plate as University of Texas star Tegan Cavan from West Des Moines, Iowa, warms up. Jones, well, it's a fair. No. Hit it hard. Well, Canada has homered 13 times in the tournament. Kiana Jones has 2 of them. One against the Philippines, the other against Israel. And Deal wanted that, and so did catcher Reese Atwood, who framed it as well as she could. Canada with the leadoff batter on, and the pitch this time inside. Deal helped her team get out of a bases-loaded jam in the fourth. Jones rips one into left, and Canada has back-to-back base hits to begin the top of the sixth. And Zoe Hicks more than capable of hitting a long ball. And do you bunt here? Probably not with this batter. Nobody out, runners at first and second, trailing by a pair. And a strike on the outside corner from Kirsten Deal. Another quality softball game between two of the tournament favorites. Hicks, that's going to find a gap. Franklin will score. Jones gets the stop sign, from the other Jones, is an assistant coach Chris. And Zoe Hicks with a huge hit, in Canada within one. It's 3-2. And runners at third and second with nobody out, as Canada strings some hits together. 3 in a row. Franklin, Jones, and Hicks. And David King, is he going to make a change? He's going to make a change. His outstanding, soon-to-be sophomore, University of Texas pitcher Tegan Cavan comes in, trying to hang on to what's now a one-run advantage. As Canada has more hits in this inning than they had in the previous 5. They'll take a quick break and be back in just a second. It's 3-2. Enter West Des Moines, Iowa product Tegan Cavan, 20-3 in her freshman year. First team freshman, All-American, helped Texas to a second place finish at the College Women's World Series, where they fell in 2 straight to Oklahoma. As she pitches to Natalie Weidman, the Canadian catcher. Cavan 1-0. She's pitched in 7 innings here, given up 1 run on 4 hits. Struck out 15 and walked 1. She pitched in 2 innings last night and did give up a run versus Mexico in a 5-2 win, as David King now has a chat with right fielder Cassidy Pickering. Two balls and no strikes to Natalie Weidman. Canada trying to draw even. And Tegan Cavan and Triple Crown Colorado guaranteed, asking, where was that? As it's 3 balls and no strikes. Janet Leung due up next, and that's a strike. Cavan at the University of Texas struck out 135 in 130 2/3 innings. Walks Natalie Weidman. And the calls were all consistent. Those pitches right virtually all 4 balls in that same spot. Still no one out for Janet Leung, and the tying run sits 60 feet away. As Canada strung together 3 straight hits, and now David King wants a conversation with the home plate umpire. He's never shy on conversations during the course of a game with his players, with umpires. Not sure what this one is necessarily all about. I don't know if Cassidy Pickering was complaining about some fans because they had a chat earlier. And he seems a little bit animated. Now, he's always very calm. He's a quality softball coach and proprietor. Maybe he's just trying to give Matty Groff time to warm up and his group to settle down. Well, Canada and Triple Crown Colorado in a Ed Whalen special. If you're familiar with Ed of old Stampede Wrestling fame, he used to call these kind of events ring-a-ding-dong dandies. Jess Oakland forces out Kiana Jones. And there's one away. And for the second time, Kelsey Harshman comes up with the bases loaded. She grounded out to first off of Kirsten Deal the last time. No bigger spot for Kelsey. Has yet to completely find a groove. This would be a quality time to have another big moment. And a changeup as Cavan gets ahead of this fine Canadian hitter. No balls and 2 strikes. She tied the game last night with a solo homer in the 5th against Australia. And wasn't getting much to deal with at 0-2. An 0-2 base hit for 2 runs by Cassidy Pickering has Triple Crown Colorado in front by a run, and Reese Atwood scoops up the low drop that missed outside. Well, Canada won't get a better opportunity. Scored, the bases loaded with no one out. Trying to tie this game or better. And Harshman fights it off. And she's bothered by something. She comes over to chat with both head coach Kaylee Rafter and assistant Chris Jones. Now everybody's in the meeting. Oh, if you only had a microphone. Close enough. Sometimes. Tegan Cavan, and she's no stranger to situations like this. She faced a bunch of them in her time this season at the University of Texas. Knew she had a chance to be special when I watched her on television in an early game in the season when she shut the door on UCLA. And strikes out Kelsey Harshman. And you can tell by the body language that didn't sit well. Great pitch. Rise ball in on the hands, and not even Kelsey could get around on it. So there's 2 away. The difference between the United States and almost every country in this sport is in the circle. They have dozens, hundreds of quality options. As CC Wong falls behind 2 strikes, changeup, carrying, gone! Grand slam! The most improved player named by Softball America in all the NCAA has hit a grand slam. Carried over the fence, away from the stretched out Kaylee Wickoff. And it's 6-3. Welcome to the national team, CC Wong. Right now, CC stands for Clutch Canadian against Triple Crown Colorado. And Pilgrim leans into that one and hit it a mile, but foul. What a turn of events. Strikes out Harshman. And CC Wong sat on one. And the Port Coquitlam product took it out of here. And a long way to go when you're dealing with the lineup of Triple Crown Colorado. 5 Canadian runs. 2 more home runs tonight. 1 from Franklin and the bomb from CC Wong. A ball and 2 strikes to Abbotsford's Callum Pilgrim. And good piece of hitting just to fight that changeup off. And I believe that was on an 0-2 pitch to Wong as well. Be careful when you give a good hitter an 0-2 pitch. Canada found that out when Cassidy Pickering gave them a 3-1 lead in the bottom of the 5th. CC Wong with a moment she won't soon forget. Can Katie Stewart get there? Well, she might have got there, but it's foul into the net. Well, if you like high-level women's fast-pitch softball, you've come to the right place the last 2 nights. The game against Australia, 4-3 Canada in 9, and tonight, another superb game, and we have lots of time left in it. Canada has exploded for 5. Remember, Triple Crown Colorado in 6 games this week had given up 3 total with this fabulous pitching staff of first and second team All-Americans. Full count to Pilgrim. Squibber. Safe. Callum Pilgrim dives her way into first. Safely. Was waiting for another potential look. The first little step didn't get to the bag. That's what allowed her to be safe. As Grace Mesmer is the batter and takes a strike from Kavan, who's given up a grand slam homer to C.C. Wong in her national team debut this season. Very playable for Cassidy Pickering. Canada grand slams their way to a 6-3 lead, but still 6 big outs in the way of their opportunity to play in the Canada Cup title game tomorrow. Canada bats around in the top of the 6th, scores 5, an RBI single off the bat of Zoe Hicks, and a grand slam delivered by C.C. Wong, her second home run of the Canada Cup. Canada scores 5, and now hand the ball to 26-year-old Calgarian Morgan Rackle. She's 1-0 in the tournament, pitched 9 innings, given up a run on 6 hits, struck out 11, and walked no one. And Morgan was at her best in 4 innings against Australia one night ago. Gave up the 1 run, and in fact, had she been able to deliver a tough play that she had to make to first that turned into an error, she wouldn't have given up any. 2 hits, struck out 2. Now in a position to close the deal in this winner's bracket final. Katie Stewart, Mesmer, zip, in time. Almost waited too long. And Stewart hits it a ton. Stewart runs well. That's as quickly as she's gotten down the line all week long. So one away for Ariana Roddy. And the changeup down, maybe the drop. Fouled off by Ariana Roddy. Hit into a fielder's choice and is struck out. Canada's fourth pitcher in the game. Korstrom, Nicholas Simpson, Brooke Melnichuk, and now one of Canada's four pitchers who will participate in the World Cup, Morgan Rackle. And Morgan delivers strike two. And just missed outside as the count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes to University of Charlotte star Ariana Roddy. Popped up, but it'll make its way into foul territory. Well, the crowd has gotten bigger and bigger as the night has gone on. Hard to stay away from this one. There's other tournament games going on in the 3 surrounding diamonds in the other showcase events besides this one. And here's the 2-2. Harshman, the flip and the out. And there are 2 away for Jackie Lease. Lease is 2 for 2 tonight with a couple of singles. Cassidy Pickering with a solo home run and then a 2-run single in the bottom of the 5th has delivered all 3 Triple Crown runs and foul. Waited for the home plate umpire. Too many games, too many days in a row. Home plate umpire. Foul. That's the easier way to talk about it. And not by a whole lot. As Rackle likes to work the ball in and out. Change speeds. And at 0-2, nothing for Jackie Lease, who's started to really get on a roll. She's hit the ball hard all week, but hasn't really had a lot to show for it. She had a bleeder of a single her last time up. And had a big turn on that swing. Lease from Newburgh, Indiana, who hit .344 with 2 triples and 16 home runs. She was the Missouri Valley Conference most valuable player. And a tough pitch to hit, but able to stay alive, fouling it off. A C.C. Wong grand slam has given Canada a 6-3 lead in this winner's bracket final. And Lease and Rackle involved in a big-time confrontation. And the sun is finally slithered behind the trees. Janet Leung. A 1-2-3, bottom of the 6th for a dancing Morgan Rackle. Still plenty of work left to do, but Canada's 3 outs away from playing in the title game here at the Canada Cup. Canada with 5 runs in the top of the 6th. Lead Triple Crown Colorado 6-3 in the clash of the unbeatens for a berth in tomorrow evening's championship final. 6-3 is the score. We'll make a change on our own scoreboard here. Larissa Franklin pops out. She's been such a catalyst tonight. Solo home run to tie the game, and then she started the hit parade in the 5-run 6th inning as Franklin has had herself a night. Kiana Jones, part of the hit parade in that 6th inning. As Canada drew to within 3-2 on hits by Franklin Jones and then Zoe Hicks to make it 3-2. So the ball gets away. A 6-3 Canadian lead in the top of the 7th. Triple Crown Colorado more than capable of stringing hits together. Jones is starting to feel it. She's swinging it as well in the last 2 days as she has all week long. 10 hits in the tournament last year. Part of Canada's roster that will make their way to the World Cup. They'll leave Monday for Italy. A week of preparation and then start the tournament on the 15th. Change up and a very good one from Tegan Kavan, who gave up the grand slam to CeCe Wong. That's the difference in the game. What a bright future the product of West Des Moines, Iowa has at just 20 years old. Zoe Hicks, a base hit and a key run batted in. Her 10th run batted in of the tournament to now tie Erica Polidori, who left prior to yesterday's game for a family wedding. Started the night behind the plate and then moved to first. 2 away. Australia and Mexico still in the hunt for the title. They'll play next. And the winner of that game will play the team that fails to succeed in this one. Right now, Canada in the driver's seat. As Hicks drives the changeup out of play down the left field side. Another great crowd. And when the sun goes down with this temperature, it's almost a perfect place and perfect temperature to watch a game. But every time I think about being really warm at a ballpark, I think about what occurred a couple of weeks ago at WBSC qualifying tournament for the men in Hermosillo, Mexico, where the average daily temperature was 44. Now that's ridiculously hot. Hicks underneath it, out of play. Got a little fill of that myself in my paying job. Spent the week last week in Las Vegas at the NHL draft. And it was in not quite to that degree, but it was over 40 every single day in Vegas. It's hot. 3-2. Hicks. Oakland. Canada looking to seal the deal and capture a spot in the championship game of of the Canada Cup. Next. Morgan Rackle looking to shut the door and hand Triple Crown Colorado their first loss and advance to tomorrow's championship game. What a shot of this spectacular four-diamond facility. Canada with 5 in the 6th, including C.C. Wong's go-ahead grand slam. Sarah Gordon, a strike to the designated player from the University of Georgia. Sarah has singled and scored and flown out to center as Rackle ties her up in on her hands and gets ahead 2 strikes. Another excellent display. And this one is far from over. The top of the order, including 5 home run hitting in this tournament. Jess Oakland set to bat third. You'd like her to come out with no one on base and potentially 2 outs. There's the first. Strikeout number 1 of the evening for Morgan Rackle, who entered the game in the bottom of the 6th. Center fielder Kaylee Wickoff doubled and scored. Cassidy Pickering, due up 4th in the inning, has delivered all 3 of Triple Crown's runs. A solo homer in the bottom of the 3rd and 2-run single off Brooke Melnichuk in the bottom of the 5th. And before Rackle, Canada was able to hold Triple Crown Colorado to the 3 runs, throwing Katie Korstrom, Nicola Simpson, and then Brooke Melnichuk. Kelsey Harshman ranges back. And there are 2 away. Now this is the situation you wanted Jess Oakland to come up with. No one on base, 2 out. 5 home runs this week, 12 runs batted in. A ball and a strike to the San Jose, California product, and a look from the drone. Drop ball. So difficult when it's in on the hands and then underneath the hands. It's Canada now a strike away from participating in this tournament's final for a number of years. Foul past Mesmer at third. Morgan Rackle's whole demeanor in the circle really changed last night. which is great news for Canada, not only the rest of the weekend, but moving into the World Cup. She throws one high and out of the zone. The count is even. Three runs, 8 hits, Triple Crown. 7 hits, 6 runs. Harshman, Canada will play for the Canada Cup title in 2024. A come from behind victory. A 5-run 6th inning. And the big blow belongs to number 72. You see her in the bottom of your screen. C.C. Wong, who hit a grand slam off Tegan Kavan on a 2-strike pitch with the bases loaded in the top of the 6th. Canada is final bound. Triple Crown Colorado still alive. And don't be surprised if these teams meet again, same time, same place tomorrow. Next, Mexico, Australia. Canada celebrating, and there's C.C. Wong. Hugs all around. She'll never forget it. Canada, fly it proudly. Your country's going to play for the final and in it for the first time in a number of years. So long for now from Softball City.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a premier member now.